Good evening all. It's very difficult to know what to say. I've come to the CCI, of course, as a player and for a long time I've been missing from here for various reasons. But let me tell you a little bit about the CCI tournament. In India, when I was a young player, the top tournament, of course, was the Nationals, and then the Western India, which is basically the state tournament, and the number 3 was the CCI. And players from all over played in this magnificent event. And I have very, very happy memories of that. And I used to say when I was a young player, when I was coming up, that the 300 break marks the difference between a good player and a great player. But that was long ago. I think I'll have to raise the ante to about 500, because there are so many who are making such huge breaks that I sit back in amazement. One of the things that bothers me, of course, is the cloth that you are condemned to play on nowadays. To see billiards in its full glory, you need a nap, because you can do magical things with a nap. I was talking to Martin a little while ago, and he said that even the best players avoid playing the long jenny. I mean, the long jenny was a piece of cake for all of us when we were growing up. Watching that ball curl along the cushion and zip into the pocket was something amazing. In fact, that was the one shot that inspired me to play billiards when my dad did it. When I was schooling in Darjeeling and he came up for a holiday and he took me to the Planters Club and he showed me how to play a long jenny. But that, like I say, that was long ago. And before I close, I want to give you a piece of trivia which many people, in fact only I and my wife know. I went for my first World Championship to New Zealand in 1964. And I met the great McConachy, one of the 4 greatest players the world has ever seen. And I told him, Clark, I'd like you to teach me top of the table. And he said, all right, come on. And he took me down to his table and he set the balls up and he placed a little dot on the table with a piece of chalk. And he invited me to play. And he said, now screw back, pot the red, screw back, and stop on that spot. So I potted the red, screwed back, got an inch here, an inch there, 2 inches there. He looked at me, he says, and Clark, had staring eyes. He looked at me, he said, young man, when I say on the spot, I mean on the spot. And that's when I realized the incredible tolerances to which the great players play. That's number 1. Number 2, I was in England many years ago, and I was fortunate to meet Joe Davis at his home in Kensington Gardens. And he came down and he said, would you like me to show you a few shots? I said, yes. We went down, and he said, he showed me a few amazing shots, and then he said, what would you like to do? I said, can you show me how to play the masse? And the impression we all had in India, that to achieve a masse, you had to give the ball quite a thump. So he set the balls up and did a beautiful masse. He says, now you do it. And he set me up, made me twist my palm away from the cue, and he said, now go for it. I went down and I did a perfect masse. Now the point of the story is, I am the only, and I say this without fear of contradiction, I am the only man on the planet who has had an instruction from Clark McConachy and Joe Davis. I leave you with that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Michael, for those inspiring words. Lastly, may I now call upon our President of BSAM, Mr. KRISHNAN, to say a few words.
It's just, Bihari actually called me about a week ago or 10 days ago saying that we're having this thing and please do come. And it's a pleasure to be here, primarily because I think the CCI is a fantastic club which has supported the game for many, many, many years, ever since Keku used to kind of, look after the game, even before that perhaps. But today, this evening, to see the different generations of players here, I think that is very, very heartening, from Dhwaj Hariyar to Ishpreet to Pankaj to Geet and Michael. It's like it's almost like 6-7 decades of billiard players here in this. So it's beautiful. And I, whenever there's an event like this, I never fail to mention the contribution of Wilson Jones to the fact that if Pankaj has won 28 world titles, and if I've won whatever world titles, and Ishpreet perhaps is going to win more world titles, and there's Ashok Chandelier, and Michael Ferreira has won however many titles, I never fail to mention that I think the matchstick or the candle was lit by Wilson Jones, and I'm a very strong believer in a concept called subconscious self-belief. And he provided that for Michael. Michael provided that for me, and I guess I must have provided that, to the generations that followed, and there's no doubt. And the beauty is that each generation somehow bettered the performance of the earlier generation. And kudos to Pankaj. I mean, it's 28. It's a huge number. We've had very few professional snooker players, but I think the time has come for our country where we will soon start seeing performances in the professional snooker circuit. And when that happens, when we have the first title winner, what Wilson Jones did for billiards, that person, be it Ishpreet or be it whoever, Pankaj, whoever it may be, will do that for snooker as well, and professional snooker as well. So thank you very much. Congratulations, Team CCI. You've done a great job, and just keep doing events like this, keep doing tournaments like this, keep inviting a multi-generational audience, and God bless. And the game of billiards and snooker is a beautiful game that has given a lot for our country. So God bless and cheers to that.
Thank you very much, Dean, and thanks for joining us this evening. May I now request.
Somebody made a remark 1.5 months ago saying that billiards do not generate as much crowd and numbers. I think that person's on the days. He happens to be the president of the Billiards and Snooker Association of Maharashtra, Chirag, a good friend. But sure. You will have your 2 minutes, if not more. But it's so, as Geet said, it's so heartening to see the response that we have for the CCI Billiards, which is not less than the CCI Snooker event, and which is why probably the CCI continues to host this event annually within a span of 1.5 months every year. It also feels like the Maharashtra Association wants us to make Mumbai our base for the first half of the year. That's the number of tournaments you guys have for us, because of which some of us actually have to skip a few, since we have a hectic international calendar as well. But it's only a problem of plenty, and I think that's great for the game, that players have to now choose between tournaments. Earlier, we had the problem of not having many events. I think there was a lull in between. Of course, at the time of the great Michael Ferreira and Geet Sethi, there were plenty of events, and then it took a dip. But now I think we've reached a stage once again where, thanks to the contribution of Maharashtra Association and venues like the CCI, we have no dearth of top quality events. So thank you very much for having us here. This is probably, I think, a gathering which no billiards fan should miss. And if you are a fan of Q Sports, especially billiards, And if you're not here at the CK Naidu Hall, you are missing out on something great. You have Michael Ferreira, Geet Sethi, Martin all the way coming from England. You have the youngsters who are now knocking on the doors and playing exceptional billiards. Special mention to Dwaj for making break after break, being so relentless in the scoring. I should be able to see you, but you must be sitting because you're so tall you would not. There you are. We've seen it all in the first 3 days. I mean, we've had matches decided on the last minute. At the last second, we've had 2 points difference between two players. We've had a 6-point finish. We've had players come back like Ryan Rasmi from the brink of defeat and making a 300 break to recover and pull off a stunning victory. So if this is what is in store, then the 150 up format, the shorter format will provide even more excitement for billiards lovers. So thank you, CCI, Bihari, Sanjubai, Nikhil, Dhruv, being the player and organizer himself, for making this happen for us year after year, Doc. We really appreciate your efforts and looking forward to many more events like these. Thank you.
Thank you, Pankaj. May I now request Mr. Mike
for inviting me. Yeah, billiards is a wonderful, wonderful game. I've spent my life playing it, and probably the 3 words that I would use to describe it is it's got artistry, it's got precision, and most of all, it has friendship. And I'm very honoured and very humbled to be here amongst all you friends, and so grateful to be invited. Mr. Sanju, thank you so much for looking after me and my wife. He was with me as I arrived and looked after me. Bihari, thank you so much as well. And I call him Ferozi, you call him the Doc, but what a great guy. And he's communicated with me, and it's lovely to have him as a friend. And the lovely gentleman over there, Dhruv Sitwala, who has been a long friend of mine. I played Dhruv in a final years ago, and I'll tell you a story. We were in, I think it was Austria, and what sort of friendship when you're playing someone in a competitive final, and Dhruv comes along and he's bought me a drink and a sandwich before the match. I mean, that's fantastic. I mean, it was beautiful. I've met so many nice friends here, and had support from you all. Lovely Mona there, who's been watching the games. I know she's a big fan of Pankaj, but it's lovely to see her. And some crazy people like Raj and Chinky and so many other people as well. And so it's been very humbling and lovely to be invited here. We are in the presence of greatness here. I mean, probably 3 of the best billiard players that have ever lived. We have Michael, Geet and Pankaj. What fantastic ambassadors for the sport. A little story, when I was a boy, I was about 14, I think, or 15. Michael came over to England and he was staying, I think, with Bobby and Olive. And he did an exhibition in a local working men's club. And I was honoured to play him, and he nearly let me win, but I didn't quite win. But it was fantastic to see him, and I knew him from all those years ago. We travelled a little bit, I think, to a couple of tournaments with Bobby. I'm not sure whether you played, but an amazing ambassador for the game, and probably the only person in recent history that nearly had 1,000 breaks in one match. I think you had well over 1,000, a 995 and a 600. So incredible billiards. And then we've got Geet. I mean, what a gentleman. I've spent a lot of time with Geet. One of the things you could say about Geet is you could never tell he's as cool as a cucumber whether he's winning or losing. He could be 600 behind or 600 in front. He's usually 600 in front, in fact. But he was always so cool, such a gentleman, and gracious in winning, which he normally did, or the occasional defeat. So, fabulous guy and ambassador for the sport. And then we've got Pankaj, who's a phenomenon, if you say it like He's 28 World Championships. And he's another cool cookie as well. He just seems to strut around the table as though he's on a practice table and destroy people, me included. I played him in Ireland. I think first shot he had 420, and that was it. He's gone. Fabulous player, and I still give you a lift back to the hotel. So that's all I could say, really. We're in the presence of greatness. It's lovely to be here amongst friends. Thank you so much for inviting me, and yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Martin, for all your kind words. May I request Dhruv to come up and say a few words, please.
Hello everybody. I'll keep it short. Just to mention it to Michael sir, maybe you're not aware, but we have played so many tournaments across the world in the time format, in the point format, in the still the shorter format, but this will be the most unique tournament across the world when we have both the formats included in one tournament. We are playing the time format in the round robin stages, and just to avoid Pankaj running out in the finals, we made the point format, because only in the last 2-3 years it's happening that we are starting the finals with Pankaj playing against Cozier or Rob Hall or someone, and it's just the match is over the first 40 minutes because he doesn't leave the tables for the next 40 minutes, and the score is 600 plays 0. So just to avoid it and harass Pankaj a little more, we have introduced this format. They've done it themselves over there. It's nice to have 3 players of the world out of the 5 who have made 1,000 breaks. 3 are sitting on my left. Thank you, Geet sir, for coming out for Bilali. And as I've mentioned always, just to complete my speech, that Geet sir knows it, and I've mentioned again and again for the younger generation that Geet sir, watching your lifestyle has been the biggest education of my sporting career. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Dhruv. Thank you very much. May I now invite our Vice President, Mr. Rajan Hiranani, to say a few words, please. Just a quick felicitation.
तू आगे आगे मैं तेरे पीछे पीछे